for OVT to create a video on how I use Netlogger to drive the Tintec legacy nets. And we're going to start from the very beginning. So this is my screen here. I have a notepad open here in the upper right. I have an STR site for the Lumpkin County Schools in Dahlonega, Georgia running here. So let's get Netlogger open. So I'll go down and click on the Netlogger launch icon, and it displays with the main menu or main window here. I will open up two additional windows. One is the chat window called the AIM window and the View Monitors window. So the blue screen is the chat window, and this is the View Monitors window. All right, one of the first things that I do is I'll resize my windows to be exactly how I like them. And I go up to click View and Manual Station Highlighter. I will select that. If I go back to View, you see it now has a check mark. What that does is when I'm over here working in the main window, entering in call signs or any other activity I want to do, the mouse will remain highlighted on the current station being worked instead of following me around as I make other selections. So play around with that. You'll see the benefit of having manual station highlighter. While I'm in the menus for your login, go to Setup and Change Operator. Be sure that both your call sign and your name are displaying. Your call sign should be there, but your name may not be. And for net controllers, it's very helpful when you come into the net to see what your preferred first name is. All right, so what I will do here is I will create a net. And for the purpose of this, I've already created or entered in testnet. And most of this information is default, but here you will want to put in your net frequency, which I've already done as 7.195 megahertz, or you can enter it kilohertz if you like, and then select the band and click OK. All right, so now you will see in the chat window that I have started logging. My net is open, and in the View Monitors tab, I am appearing. Now I'm appearing in the View Monitors tab without any background color. That's because I have not entered myself into the main window. And so that is something that the net control has to manually do. There is no way that I know of to automatically enter somebody from the once they've logged in to the Netlogger active net. There's no way I know to automate that. So, and let me just do this and make a mistake. So I'll do W4 OVV, and well, it turns out that is a call sign. Sorry, Barney, to use you as an example. But notice back here in the View Monitors, it did not highlight in color. That lets me know that I have made a mistake, or as we used to call it, fat-fingered. So let me highlight this and make that a T. Now watch what happens in the View Monitors. A sort of aqua color shows up, and that lets me know that I have correctly entered the check-in to the net. In this case, it's me. All right, so now I am net control. So what I do is put the cursor on the number 1 and press the control button on my keyboard and click, and that presents this drop-down menu while I say net official status, I am net control. And then to the check-ins, that will present a different color line highlighted. than everyone else. It makes me sort of a purple-blue color. Now let's one of our check-ins, JJ, and JJ is who I'm really doing this video for, along with anybody else that will benefit from it. And I'm going to go to a different computer here, and I click Select Net, and I'm selecting Test Net and Monitor Net. All right, so I have JJ showing up on a different computer, and there he comes in now to this video. So you see that JJ is now signed into Netlogger. He's not highlighted because I haven't entered him into the main window. So I will do that now. And notice now he's highlighted, and he is also highlighted by the pink line, the infamous pink line in Netlogger, which rests on the station that's being worked. All right, now for a lot of you, my screen won't look like yours. Your Netlogger screen will have a lot more columns. I have customized mine for what we use in the Tintec legacy nets, call sign, name, state, and in the remarks field, we capture what type of radio is being used. And again, I manually enter those. There's a way for me to build a club list where that'll auto-populate, but I don't mind. I just do it manually each net. And JJ is often on his Tintec Omni 6 Plus. And there's that. So as more check-ins come, I will see them appear in the view monitors. So for those of you wondering why sometimes you get added to a main window when you're just lurking or wanting to monitor a net, it's because the net controller, if they have the view monitors window open, which is this window, they can see when you enter. Now usually I will, if I don't recognize the call sign, I'll wait a minute or two, because you get a lot of people who just kind of peek their head in the door and they sign out. So if they hang on for a minute or so, I'll go ahead and enter them in. Now in the chat window over here, I have a notepad, and these are just commonly used phrases. So on the 40 meter net on Sundays, we have two net controllers. We have a sideband net and a CW net. And I just have this burned in to where I can enter those. So that's kind of a boilerplate for every net. Now notice the delay of when I'm appearing immediately in the chat window. And that's where the term almost instant messenger comes from. There is sometimes a several second delay before what you type appears. But there, it's all there now. All right, and if I'm going to have a lot of relays, if the band conditions aren't good, I'll optionally add this comment, which instructs the relays to what information is needed. All right, so you can have a notepad here to enter in your information that's common to your net. All right, so I will build my check-in list, and as I enter stations, usually they will represent a number of check-ins more than who has been worked. So I click on each line as the check-ins appear, and it will move this, some call it a Pepto-Bismol line, this pink line will move, signaling to the check-in when their turn is upcoming. I will usually move sequential down the line unless I get a mobile or low-power check-in or an early out station, a station that says that they are short time, I will jump down and prioritize them. Sometimes stations will not respond, and there are other commands in the, if I use the control button and click here in the number column, I'm back to where you saw me earlier, set myself as net control. A station may not come back to me, and so I will select not responding status, and then that puts a green line over there. It won't show up until I can move off of him here. Let's do another station. There we go. So I just typed in another call sign. Now you see that when I moved off of JJ, he's now showing in green. And that is like a reminder to me to go back and call him again. Maybe he went to the coffee pot or wherever. So in Netlogger, there's different settings that you can do. Now, one that let's say that I worked JJ, and now I want to clear his status, and that will remove the green line. So I've worked him, and he's going to go off and have a good day. So the thing for me to do, for me and for him, is to log the contact. Okay, so log the contact. After you work someone, you log the contact. Now, where does it log to? Well, here is a secret Scooby that was not immediately obvious to me when I went through the Netlogger manual or the tutorial. Down here at the bottom of this main window, there's actually two windows here. I'm only showing the check-in menu currently. But watch what happens when I move my mouse down to this icon right here. And notice that my mouse will turn into a different shape. Okay, so that would resize the window. I don't want to do that. I want to go here where I have the up-down arrow with the horizontal bar and click and hold my left mouse button and drag up, not down, drag up. It's counterintuitive if you ask me, but that's just how it works. Now I have revealed the contacts menu. It's the second portion of this window that I previously had closed. All right, so there you see that I have logged myself is the first check-in, and then JJ is logged. And so now watch what happens. I've talked to Mike, and I log him, and there he appears. All right, this is what really trips up a lot of people. They ask the question, how can I get, when the net's over, how can I get check-ins exported for use in a spreadsheet or whatever you're doing with the check-ins? You want to email them to somebody. And this is the key. In order to export the check-ins, you have to have them appearing in the contacts menu. And the way you get them here, again, I just showed you, is by clicking the control click button and log contact. Okay. So now how do you do that? Well, you go up to the Netlogger file and you go to export. And I export to the CSV file, which stands for comma separated file. Some people used to call it a flat file, and all contacts. And when I do that, you will get a file name. I'll say 40 meter SSB net, or just SSB. It's going to go to my desktop and click save. Okay, and it says 3 contacts successfully exported. Okay, well, let's look at that. So now I'll go over to my desktop. Here's that file. I double click on it, and it's opening, and there you get you get all of the contacts that you have stored that you just exported. Now notice all of the columns show up here, whereas up above I have reduced the number of columns just to fit my screen better and give me a little more width for entering information. So usually what I'll do here is I will go and select the fields that I need for the log report. I don't capture the time and date. I do that on the file name. So I'll delete those two columns. I'll leave the call sign. That's important. And then I'll come over here and delete those columns, leaving the check-in's name appearing. I usually delete their city. And I leave the state. That's important. And then I'll come over, delete these unnecessary columns. I'll leave the remarks column or the type of rig that they're using, and then I'll delete the rest of the columns. Delete. Okay. So that gives me the 4 pieces of information that we track within the Tintech Legacy Net. So you might want to track more or less. And then I simply do a export to, again, by the way, I'm within the spreadsheet program on the Macintosh called Numbers. It's like Mac or Windows Excel. And I go up and once again do an export to a CSV file and accept that. And I leave the file name the same. It's going to warn me that you're about to overwrite. Do you want to replace it? Yes. And then I go from there into a formatted kind of a more publishing quality log report, and I do a cut and paste of this information. Again, capturing only the 4 columns that I want. You might, again, want more or less. Ha! Somebody just checked in here. Can you see? Just even having a test net going. So I'll go ahead and add him. John, thank you for playing along. Kilo Foxtrot 0 Echo Alpha United, and notice now he's highlighted, and I'll type a message in here. Thanks for stopping by, John, exclamation mark. And that will appear shortly, because remember, it's almost instant messenger. It takes a few seconds, and there it is. All right, so that's a good overview of how you start the windows that are good to use within Netlogger, and how to enter contacts, what the behavior is in the View Monitors window, how the chat window works, the AIM